Hi, Original Soul. Welcome in to this reading that, based on the cards that are out already, feels like finding your strength, persevering, especially through maybe loss, heartbreak, or challenge. But definitely a vibe about being strong and kind of picking yourself up and moving forward in a better way. So we'll jump into some cards here. We'll add tarot to it and see what wants to come out. So thanks for showing up, bringing your energy, and I hope you're doing well. All right, so we'll start out with the first card that came out here, number 15, Find Power in Loss. So in that image, this woman looks like she's sort of blindly moving forward, maybe shrouded in a lot of feelings or with passion. So let's see what wants to come out with that. Right, and depending on the type of loss that you may have experienced, right, easier said than done, of course. But even with, let's say, heartbreak, right? If you believe kind of everyone in your life is a mirror, is a reflection, right? Then when you feel that loss, you are missing the love, the unconditional love that you know you have for yourself, right? And sometimes that's easier to kind of see when it's coming from another person, and of course that feels really good. So maybe tapping a little bit more into self-love or getting into, right, your own power of love. Two of Wands came out. Right, and it did come out in reverse. So this could be not knowing which way to move, not knowing what sort of decisions to make. Right, in this visual, he's holding kind of what looks like a crystal ball to me. So not really knowing what your future holds, maybe being a little bit uncertain of what sort of action to take. See if we get one more with it here. But definitely moving out of pain, suffering, negativity. Again, this is lack and loss, but because this came out in reverse, this is moving on and moving past that. Right? You can see there's a lot of wounding here on this card. Right? And he's holding almost what looks like one of these wands to me as well. So there could be a decision that you are making, and again, you don't really know what it's going to hold, what it's going to bring, which can feel scary, but like she is leaping forward with a little bit of faith and trusting her heart. Right? This is what's going to push you out of this sort of lack mentality, this loss, this woundedness, and this hurt. So maybe no longer sitting still or staying looped, right, in the pain of whatever the situation might be. And again, moving on and moving past that, moving forward. Okay. Got two cards here out of the crystal deck. So Herkimer Diamond. Power wash your energy. I actually have a little piece of that here. So power washing your energy, like I was just saying, right? It's time to get out of, if you've been in a loop or stuck in that area of pain, right? It's time to do something different. Right? Sometimes even just taking a shower and imagining negativity or sadness kind of washing off of you and even going down the drain, letting water cleanse you. Maybe you do some sort of energy healing or Reiki or something like that. Even meditations that do chakra clearing and different things like that could be really helpful. So just allowing your own energy and your own body to be your sacred space. All right, let's get a card or so with that. And then the other crystal card that came out was malachite. And that one said, claim your success. So kind of what we were just talking about here in the first row at the beginning. Okay, let's see. A couple want to come out. All right, so 9 of Pentacles, which is definitely an up level from this 5 of Pentacles, feeling hurt, feeling down and out. This is really coming into your own. As I mentioned, working more on self-love, self-care, building confidence, and just looking around you and finding the abundance that you have, whether it's an abundance of love for yourself, maybe you have an abundance of support, right? But this is trusting yourself, trusting your decisions, and just moving forward in a way where you're starting fresh, right? You're starting new, and that's reflected here too with the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. We do have a lot of Pentacle cards coming out here. Maybe this has something to do, if it's not a relationship, with a career, right? If you've maybe been let go from a position, right? Finding power in that loss, moving forward, seeing that maybe as a new opportunity, right? Something where you can get a little bit more clarity, make some better decisions, finding new open doors. Also picking up a lot on red roses here. So I don't know if anything with kind of the rose line resonates with you at all, or maybe you're just really into flowers and gardening or different things like that. But red roses are definitely coming through very strong. So yeah, this is, again, really strong feminine energy as well. Again, being just confident with yourself, being decisive, and moving towards some sort of new and fresh opportunity. So yeah, clearing your energy, right, washing away the hurt, pain, negativity, and sadness, and seeing things more as an opportunity where that makes sense. All right, and then with malachite, like I said, claim your success. I don't believe I have any malachite. Otherwise, I thought that I looked over and I saw this stone and was like, wait, is that malachite? But I don't think it is. It's not quite as swirly. I don't know, I'll have to figure out what this one is. Maybe you know. But it's got that same beautiful hues of green. All right, so like I said, this one is about claiming your success, but getting more grounded and heartfelt with that energy, right? This isn't about only kind of just working yourself, you know, and like grinding away, or kind of stomping all over people to sort of climb the ladder. So this is about getting more grounded. And we do have a lot of pentacles out here, which is about grounding. So maybe you do some sort of earthing. Maybe you even go to a flower shop and bring some nature into your home. Maybe pick up some red roses. All right, but let's see what wants to come out with claim your success. All right, the Fool. So I was just talking about new beginnings. So some sort of new opportunity with that pentacle presenting itself, right? And then with the Fool, that's being willing to go ahead and follow that new opportunity. Taking a leap, taking a chance, right? Just like this top card, right? She's leaping forward blindly, right? So this could be something totally new. Doesn't mean that it won't have some challenges or some obstacles, but really just having a lot of trust and a lot of faith, believing that there is success out there for you, right? And something new and better is on its way. Yeah, again, right, this is the Four of Cups. So this could be just sort of these past things that are set to the side, right? They could have worked for a while and kind of filled up your cup and brought you joy, but that's no longer aligned. In this version, right, he's looking right at that cup being presented. So it kind of reminds me too of the Ace of Pentacles or even the Ace of Cups, how there's a hand coming out of a cloud, right, with this offer, right? But he's really thinking about this, really taking it seriously, right? Not ignoring this opportunity, and even understanding with the Fool that this might be something that will be fulfilling and will be heartfelt, like I was just saying, right? So not being afraid to maybe take what might feel like a risk, or not being afraid to move on or move forward. Like we were talking, no longer staying kind of stuck in this injured mode. So seeing opportunities, seeing options, and being willing to follow through with those. All right, and then the last card out here, number 22, Capricorn, I use. All right, so Capricorn is definitely sort of the workhorse, or I guess the work mountain goat, in the tarot. So this is about being resourceful, definitely being strong, persevering. Like I said, putting in energy and effort towards possibly new goals and new opportunities, not really keeping that, just looking only at the past. All right, let's see what else wants to come out here. Also being careful of injury with like bones or teeth, different things like that. All right, and then we've got the Lovers out here with Capricorn. Right, so the Lovers can be about choice. And we've got balance with Temperance at the bottom and the Two of Cups. And notice how Temperance is using those Two of Cups, sort of alchemizing things, taking experiences from the past. And again, the Lovers is about choice. So for some of you, this definitely could be kind of moving on from heartbreak and then finding a new love opportunity that comes in. Being willing to maybe take that chance and open your heart instead of keeping yourself protected and closed off, right? And that's really when that can be the most challenging, right? When you go through some sort of loss, whether that's losing someone, losing a situation, losing a relationship, that's when it can be really easy to really block your heart, right? Build up a wall around it. You're trying to protect yourself. So it's in those moments where if you can actually allow yourself to still express love and be more open, that's when things really start to align for you. That's really where true love and self-love and love from the universe are allowed to be let in. And that's really when you need it most as well. All right, so again, for some of you, this could be new love coming in after some sort of letdown or heartbreak. For others, again, this is about making a choice that feels balanced and whole. All of these cards are about balance. We've got masculine and feminine energy here together, right? We've got Temperance here, blending and mixing, finding balance. Again, grounded and heartfelt with the foot here on land and in water, right? Knowing that you have angelic support as well, right? Following your passions. And then Two of Cups, again, very similar, sort of like the lower octave here of the Lovers in the minor arcana. So that's being willing to partner, maybe after some issues with partnership in the past. And again, this is a really strong blending of energy. So yeah, being willing to, right, work towards that. Being willing to use the partnerships that show up instead of staying blocked. All right, so definitely moving out of this wounded feeling. Let's see here. Let's see what Archangel Michael wants to add to this message. You created this situation and you have the power to change it. Okay, so again, I don't know what the situation is for you, but let's hear what else this card has to say. Thank you for letting me lean on your strength and for reminding me of my personal power. Please guide me to manifest and heal according to divine will, creating peace and blessings for everyone involved. All right, so definitely bringing more love into whatever the situation is, knowing that is one of your superpowers. And just as we were talking about, right, finding power in loss, right, strength and perseverance, right, that's definitely a message on this card as well, right, because you do have the power to change your situation. Okay, I love that message. Let's see here. We'll get a card out of Angel Tarot, a spirit animal, and then we'll close it out. And the motto on the Capricorn card is I use, which is more about using, resources and, your strength, your power, definitely being, resourceful, like I was just saying. But for some of you too, with a lot of this sort of injury and loss, just noticing if, there was any, kind of toxic things that were being used, which, it could be, maybe you lost your job because you were doing drugs or drinking too much, or that's where your relationship failed. Or maybe you've been using people in the past to fill sort of your ego, and that hasn't really gotten you in a place where you feel secure or solid or really like you're experiencing love. So that is coming through as well. So definitely getting out of that pattern if that applies to you, right? You're not willing to continue to sort of beat yourself up, right? You're kind of done with that. Kind of done with that bullshit. All right, let's see here. All right. Knight of Swords, Harahel, number 59, the all-pervading God. Intellectual richness, protects fertility of women, makes children respectful towards their parents. Ooh, I like that one. I'm gonna have to definitely be working with this angel from now on. So Harahel. All right. So intellectual richness, again, learning from your experiences is what's coming through with that. Knowing there's lessons in everything, whether you liked it or you didn't, and finding the power in that. All right. Badger wanted to hang out behind there, which is about endurance. All right, let's go ahead here. Get spirit animal with it. Again, whatever this is for you, some sort of new opportunity, if you're willing to be open to it. Right, so really working on your heart space and your heart chakra. All right, Cardinal wanted to pop out adventure. You need to live up to your fullest potential, explore new directions, and take risks in order to grow as an individual, right? Everything we've just been talking about. Change may be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. And so maybe that's how you start to look at this too, right? Life is an adventure. Every situation is some sort of an adventure. Exploring new directions, like we said, maybe taking a risk or something that feels like a risk to you because of what you've been through before. But that is how we grow. Like we said, there may be obstacles and challenges. as there's mountains there behind the Fool. But with Capricorn, which is the mountain goat, right, you're able to climb over those. You're able to move through those, and seeing that again as an opportunity as opposed to an obstacle, right? Seeing it as an adventure, maybe even a little bit of risk, even though it may also be or look like a challenge. So, all right, that's what we've got here for this reading. Let's see here. If you like to work with affirmations at all, I don't know, power came up so many times, right? I think working with something like I am powerful, right? So just remembering your experiences do not necessarily define you, but the way you move through those and the way you act and react is how you learn and how you grow. So being more open, getting grounded, definitely. We had a lot of Pentacle energy coming out, but also a lot of Cups, especially with Temperance, Lovers, the Two of Cups, and the Four of Cups, right? So Pentacles and Cups were kind of the dominating energy here. So moving forward, kind of with an open heart, not kind of, moving forward with an open heart, grounded in yourself, and knowing that you are powerful, right? Treating it like an adventure. So what can you do this week to kind of sit in your power, to even take your power back if you've maybe given it away, especially if you're still in this sort of lack mentality, in this lack area, right? It's time to do some of these things to move out of there and see things in a new and more exciting way. Just taking whatever lessons you can from what you've been through, right? And that just adds to your personal power. Experience is power. Love is definitely power. All right, so that is what we've got here for this reading. We are powerful. All right, I hope there was something here for you in this message. And until next time, peace.